Hey, and welcome to episode 2 of the rebuild of my Moto Morini 3.5 Sport. In this episode, we're finishing off the cleaning of the fuel tank and then moving on to stripping the bike down, ready for repairs and whatever it needs doing to get it back on the road. You will also see an investment opportunity with WD-40 in this episode. So let's get to it. Right, fuel tank's been marinating in vinegar for a few days. Let's empty it out, see what it's done. Well, it looks filthy, so that's good. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to put this vinegar on your chips now. Because of the lip around the filler, it's a bit difficult to get the last little bit out, so I'll try and get it out of the reserve tap. This might take a while. Good enough. I don't know if you can see that, that's pretty manky. So what I'm going to do now is put some detergent in it, just regular cheap stuff from around the corner, and just give it a blast with the jet wash just to try and shift any stuck on muck and take it to the next stage. That's a scientific measure of detergent. This could get really messy, I've never done this before. So if you don't see me again, it's because I killed the camera with the jet wash. That seems to be working and not too messy. Let's empty that lot out and give it another go. There's still some loose stuff in there. Might try and see if I can get that with a hoover and an airline to blast it around at some point. But at least it's clean loose stuff now. A quick peek. Wow. That actually looks really good from what I can see. We'll put the endoscope down in a bit, but well, looks good. Well, that's the fuel tap. You can see the little filter that's above it is kind of clogged-ish. So good job we're going to clean it. Let's try not to lose that. water's coming out clean now. So that's something. Still some bits in there. But a lot less. Just saw another crimp come out then. Right, so just standard baking soda. This is, I think its only use is really to make sure you've neutralised all the vinegar so you don't have an acid. My light's just gone off. You don't have acid floating around in the tank. No idea how much you're supposed to use, so I'm just going to use an elegant sufficiency. Don't leave it in for long, I'll leave it in, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. And sluice it all out. Call it good. And what I will do is temporarily put that fuel tap back on, because otherwise I won't be leaving it in for 5 minutes, will I? Just finger tight, I don't mind a bit of a leak. There we go. Bit more light on the subject. This is a special filming stage light. It's not a Ryobi battery lamp at all. It's very important and special. Okay, hey Siri, 5-minute timer. Okay, Siri says 5 minutes is up. So let's empty this out. I'll give it one more rinse and then we're done. Okay, so that'll do for that. I think I've got most of the loose stuff out. Obviously still some probably crimps or some other nonsense in there, which we will deal with later. Now, most people I've seen have used a hairdryer or something to dry this out, but because I live in the south of France and we're in the middle of a heat wave, I'm just going to stick it on the roof terrace for a few hours and let it dry itself out. Au naturel. Okay, fuel tank to the roof, me to the beach. See you later. I poured most of the liquid, the water and the vinegar and everything, down through this sieve to try and see how much stuff came out, but most of it went straight through and down this plug hole. So not terribly successful, but you can see this, well, you can see two things. First of all, quite a lot of muck and crimps and bits of paint and all sorts of nonsense came out. And secondly, it's a genius idea to have a sink in your garage.
Hey there, well, the tank's been baking in the sun for a while, so it's pretty dry now. And it sounds like there's no more loose bits, so all that jet washing and rinsing and everything must have washed them out, which is great. So now I just want to quickly have a look and see what it's done. So again, using the endoscope that we used before, start it recording, see what we can see. It looks very different so far, in a good way. Still see some rust. I guess that's rust staining more than anything else. But let's bend that way. We're going down the back of the tank now to the deeper bit. Wow, that has done a pretty good job. So I guess we're looking at the this bit of the tank there. You can still see some tiny bits of surface rust, but you know, not surprisingly, considering how much muck came out of there, it looks vastly different. Well, happy with that. Yeah, that looks much better. So, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the tap off, the electrical tap. This wasn't working when I last played with this. I'm hoping it's just full of crud, in which case hopefully we can clean it out. Looks like I can get the electrical bit off the valve bit, hopefully. Anyhow, let's give it a go. Save scratching up the paint. The rags in this workshop seem to have bred. I've got far too many. Look at that. Okay, that came off easy. Wow. Got a feeling there's supposed to be a filter on the end of that. Yeah, that is absolutely, I don't know if you can see it. That is absolutely full of rubbish. Let me see if I can, I'll try and take a picture with the phone, but you know, look at that. So yeah, I think we know why that wasn't working. Got a handful of dirt now. That's what trousers are for. Okay, so see if we can get that apart. Anyhow, for now it can go in the Ziploc bag of fuel tank bits, and the only other thing I want to take off is this fuel cap so that I can polish it up, hopefully. That looks like it's just held in with spring pressure. Could you keep an eye on where the spring's going to go? Because oh, that was painless. Okay. Oh yeah, just slides in. Okay, so that's it for the fuel tank. 2 bits for the Ziploc bag. I'm going to give this a quick sluice down, and then it can go wrapped up in one of the many rags down in the cellar to wait its turn to go back on. But yeah, really pleased with that cleaning process. That was cool. With a little bit of fiddling about, I did find that there was a filter that was supposed to be attached to the electric fuel tap jammed in the opening. And of course, when I pulled it out, a load of muck came out with it. So I shall try and blow all that out, anything that's fallen back in, with an airline. And obviously this needs a little bit of work to clean up. So more on that later. Okay, let's see what we can do with this electric fuel tap. I've managed to find some on eBay for sale, but they're not super cheap. So it'd be great to fix this if I can. So there's a certain amount of rubbish just coming out. It's quite disgusting. So what I really want to do, well, first of all, I'm going to check it again, make sure it hasn't magically healed up in the intervening years since I last looked at it. And then I want to see if I can get the electrical bit, the solenoid, off the rest of the unit, because then I can put the actual tap in the in an ultrasonic cleaner and without destroying the electrics. But first of all, let's see if there's anything I can use to get the easy to shift muck out of this, and then see if actually anything happens. I shall connect it to a special test rig which is known as a Moto Morini 3.5 Sport. Okay, see if I can find some cleaner. Okay, found some brake cleaner. Should really call this stuff everything cleaner. I'll just see if I can get some of the loose stuff out of here, if there is any loose stuff. Yeah, that seems to be doing virtually nothing. Okay, so let's go and plug it, well, let's clean it up a bit first and then plug it into the bike and see if we can get any reaction from it. A click would be nice. Looking a little better. Let's go and have a look. Take a meter with me so that I can check if there's actual voltage as well. So these are the connectors for the fuel tap. Do got to clean those, but hopefully we can get a bit of a connection. So the brown goes on top, that's the way around the switch was. Okay, applying power. Nope, nothing at all. Oh! Don't know if you can hear that, but we do have a click. So it works. So it's now just a matter of cleaning it. That's excellent. Well, that's good. Does seem to be just freed up then, because before, from memory, it wasn't working at all. And you could definitely hear the click then. Right, so we've got a nut. A nut on the end of the body here. And we've got a nut which seems to be part of the main body of the tap. Okay. Bit optimistic. So give it a bit of a squirty. One thing I don't want to do, obviously, is knacker what I've now proved to be a somewhat working tap. If I can't get this apart easily, I shall give up and focus on trying to get the tap cleaned up in one go. So apply some power and squirt it with WD-40 and brake clean, I guess. See where we go with that, but let's try a couple of things first. Magic eye is not working today. There we go. 14 mil. Ow. That was very easy. There we go, there's the electronic part. Oops, I've dropped the, what I presume is magnetic. Nope. The pushery bit, the piston possibly. And that's the actual tap. I wonder if I can get that rubber bit out easily. Pushing me luck now. I'm really happy that came apart so easily. I was expecting that to be a struggle. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that. The last thing I want to do is destroy a working tap. Well, chuck that in the degreasant and see what happens. The rest of you can go back in the bag. Result. Okay, let's finish off the fuel system bits. So the fuel taps and all the associated bits have been through the ultrasonic cleaner. I do a quick review of this because it's new, and you can find it on the product review and tool tests playlist. But it did a great job. The reserve tap was utterly blocked with, I don't know what it was, but it was horrible. And then it's now completely clear. Likewise, the electric tap, managed to get it apart and just cleaned the tap bit. And again, that's perfectly clear as well. If you are taking one of these apart, do be aware that there's a little tiny spring at the back of the piston, which is what pushes the piston onto the little rubber diaphragm. It falls out when you take them apart and disappears. Ask me how I know. The nylon bits also came out really good. So yeah, I think we're done with that for now, and we can get back onto the brakes. Okay, back on the main problem at the moment, which is these brakes. I soaked the offending screw, which is that one, for quite a while, sorry, this one, which was for quite a while in WD-40, and let's give it one more go. Should be amazed if it comes out, but you never know. Screw is quite properly rounded now. When I do a job, I do it properly. No, not a hope. Luckily, there is a plan B. That doesn't work, we're in trouble because there isn't a plan C. I managed to find the old brake reservoir. The reason we got rid of that is because the lever was broken, and I took the lever out of the Yamaha cylinder, and remarkably it fits pretty well. And then even more remarkably, I managed to find the proper lever on eBay for only 22 euros. So that's even better. So I shall fit this master cylinder with its correct lever, and we'll see if we can get the brakes working. It hasn't been used for a long time, so we might have some problems with that as well, but we'll give it a go. Sadly means I'm going to have to polish up the clutch lever as well, because that rather puts it in the shame. So let's start pulling the old one off. I might have to steal the banjo bolt off this one because the other one looks a bit corroded. Hopefully it's the same. I think they're mostly 10mm, but there's two different thread sizes, I believe. So hopefully the same thread pitch. Oof. There we go. this bolt looks in good nick. That's cool. So if it does fit, we're laughing. I shall steal the copper washer as well and get a bag to put it all in. So I'll check that banjo bolt with the other caliper in a bit. What do we need here? So the banjo bolts are different size threads, but the same size, so I can use the hose. So I'll just have to clean this one up. I'll run it through the wire wheel, and then I think I'll run it through the ultrasonic cleaner as well, just in case there's any muck inside. So we'll do that now. That seems to come up pretty well, so we can press on. Okay, slight problem, the new lever doesn't quite fit. So for now I'll stick in the Yamaha lever, which does fit, bizarrely, and proceed with that. I also can't see where the brake micro switch is, but we'll figure that out. So put the wrong brake lever back together and make it work. So you've got a little actuator that goes in there, that then goes onto that, and the screw goes through. Threaded on the back. So once you've got it in there, it's relatively easy to line things up and get it started, and then there's a lock nut goes with a washer which I dropped under the heating. So that might be a bit of a challenge. That just sheared a bolt off, so it's another little job, luckily fairly near the top. I'm sure there's lots of thread sticking out. Won't stop us checking the brakes and moving on. Okay, that's reasonably snug. Got full movement on the brake lever. Let's put some fluid in it, see what happens. Careful that it doesn't spill. Bubbles. Starting to get some resistance. Oops. Right, I'll do a very rough bleed of this. It's all coming apart again in a minute, so just to make sure that we've got a working caliper really. If I can get the brake bleed. Oh, feels a little stiff. Oh. Might have to marinate that in WD-40. Should probably just dunk the whole bike at this point. See if there's any silo lice wire. That's actually yeah, there we go. That is actually working. Sort of. Cool. I think that'll be good enough for now. I will try and crack that bleed nipple at some point, but we seem to have fluid to the caliper, no massive big leaks, one broken mounting bolt. A bit of a puzzle about how you mount the switch. That's bizarre. A little bit of research needed there, I think. Okay. I think the caliper needs cleaning because it's dragging a bit. It's not releasing very well, but it might just be air in weird places or something. Definitely got a brake. Okay, so take it all apart again. So I need to take all the front end off really. I've got to clean the these bits of the forks. There's some minor rust on it, and I want to change these seals because they're cracking, so that's blowing the front end apart. I've got to get the wheel off to change the tyre and the inner tube. So yeah, and there's a lot of rust I need to clean off as well. So start doing that. probably take that out. I expect anyone who knows a Morini was shouting at me just then because I hadn't taken the clamp bolt out of the bottom of this fork. We'll pretend that never happened, shall we? So I think I shall record the bird's nest of wiring in here, much of which I'm responsible for, I believe, for posterity, and also rewiring, because I'm going to have to cut some of those wires to get the indicators and headlamp bowl out. So here goes. Biggest challenge as I've used, obviously because that's all I had at the time, I just used butt connectors rather than disconnectable connectors, bullet connectors, for the indicators. I think so we've got a sort of black and white, grey and white going to the right hand indicator, and green and black, I believe, going to the left hand indicator. I'm guessing that the rear indicators are at the end of one of these wires. So I'll cut those two. I will label, I can unplug the pilot light, I'll label that. I think the rest will poke through the headlamp bowl satisfactorily if I disconnect that earth. So I'll label that as well, I think. So that's, well, I can't really take the mick out of Italian wiring now, can I? Because that was Smith wiring. We'll do better when we put it back together, I think. Well, I think that'll do today. Some progress, some steps backwards. Way it is, I guess. So yeah, I've got to figure out, I've got to replace a bolt in the old new brake cylinder. I've got to figure out how the brake switch connects into that. I'm going to double check how these forks come apart. I think it's relatively self-explanatory, but just want to to be sure. Put that caliper somewhere. Yeah. Okay. Back again. See you soon. Right, let's carry on pulling the front end apart. We'll start with the clocks. See where the connectors go. If at first you don't succeed, use a bigger hammer. Okay, I think we'll knock it on the head for this video. I think it's probably going to get a bit long. Good progress, got all the front stripped out, the back end stripped out. Only other stuff I really want to take out off are things like the side stand and kickstand, which are easy to get to. I've got a sandblaster cabinet in a box there, so I'm going to clean up what I can on that. I need to get the engine covers off because they look disgusting. I'm probably going to try and soda blaster them, and rather than paint them black again, which is what they were originally, I'll probably just try and leave them sort of satin aluminium finish. We'll give that a go. If it doesn't work, just paint them black again. Paint them black and put it back. So yeah, pull off things like that, pull off the rear mudguard lights, anything easy to get off to clean, and then it'll be starting to clean stuff up, paint it. I need to touch up the frame. And then the reassembly begins. And that's the bit where you find out you've got 3 bits left over, you've got no idea what they're for. Anyhow, if you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, and come back for the next one where we'll be more work on the Morini. See you soon.